All right, so you guys, we're going to get started on lesson 7, but before we do, I want to go over how some people answered the question at the end of lesson 6. So please watch this, it won't take too long. You'll see some good ideas, maybe some not so good ideas. So let's start out with this one. This one works out really well, it works just fine. But my concern with it is that the definitions are inside other definitions. That's called a local versus a global, and I'd actually warn against it. So if you did it this way, I would say maybe think not to. So for example, what you can do is you can see this is only 31. 31, that's the most efficient one I've seen so far. But what I can do is I could snap this. Oh, I can't do it. I have to hit remix to be able um, to show you what I'm talking about. But I can take these definitions, right, out. So I'm going to pull that out and I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom and I'm just going to drop it out outside of it. So because you see like draw row is and draw square is inside of draw row, right is inside of draw square. In this example, it works just fine, but it's not good practice for what we're doing, okay? So this is actually how I want to see it. So this definition is separate from this, separate from this, separate from this. Now, you can have these calls inside of this definition and these calls inside of this definition. That's totally fine, but I want to stack them inside of each other. And we'll get to the difference at another point. But essentially, when you put a definition inside of another definition, it only applies within that definition. Ooh. So we don't necessarily want to do that. So structuring like this might make more sense. But I do like that it was one draw grid, and it starts it going by drawing the rest of the rows and drawing the squares and then turning the rights. So this is a good example of what to do. I would just warn you not to put definitions inside of other calls or put definitions inside of other definitions because that way I want to be able to use them outside of it first. Okay. So let's look at a couple examples. Here's one. So this is draw row, and the draw row function turns right, and it does some rights, and it has another draw row, and then it goes back to the beginning. So something like this works totally fine. It looks a lot different than other ones that I've seen, but pretty efficient at 44. I thought that was pretty good. And so we see two different ones there. I thought that one's totally fine to do. I'm trying to remember. Some people had some that were quite different. I'm not sure if this is another one or not. But this will be the last one we look at, and then we'll get moving on, okay? But draw section, draw column, turnarounds. So, and we have draw squares in there as well, okay? So this is another fine example of what to do. It's using 3 different functions, which I like to see. Some people even have 4. Um, I don't know if anyone did it. I haven't gone through all these yet, but you could actually draw 1, 2, 3, 4 squares to make up this grid as well. I think that's how you can get it down to like 27 or 29 or something like that. I've seen people do. So good work though. All right, I'm going to close it out and let's get started on lesson 7 now. So this one mentions this thing called API and documentation and library and all this other stuff. Okay, the reason for that is because it gets into using new code. And so let's just jump into the lesson so you can see what I'm talking about. So you have new commands that are available, new lines of code, right? And the point is like when you hover your mouse over it, you can hit like see examples, and you'll see examples of how you could use it. Um, and you can also read exactly what it does, what are the limitations to it. Okay. So we'll get into that more a little bit later, but this first module actually gets into what this move forward thing can do. So before we just had a default parameter of 25. So when you put a move forward in there, let's say I click one right above here, it was actually always set to 25, but it didn't show a number at all. It just showed it as blank. But in fact, it was actually assuming that it was 25. Okay. So when I run this one, now what they did is instead of having default number in there that you didn't see, we're supposed to type in the parameter. So it's the number that it accepts. Okay, so if I hit run, it went forward 100. Okay, I could change this to 2, and when I run it, it would only go ahead a tiny little bit. You can just barely see the line. Or I can go over here, and by the way, you have to hit reset to change these numbers. I could go up here and type in 200 and see, and I could run it. And you can see it almost gets to the top. So your job in this one is to just see what number actually gets all the way to the top and then hit finish. Okay. So whatever number you type in here is exactly the amount of pixels it moves up. Um, if you ever notice when you move your mouse around, over here on the right side it says X69, Y79. I go over here, it's X265, Y330. That's because on the screen, this is 0, 0 all the way in the corner. And as you move farther away from it, or down from it, um, that X and Y change. You usually think of X and Y as being to the up and to the right. So this is actually down and to the right. It's a little bit different. So there you go. So that's that one is. All right, 7.3. And by the way, this video is going to be, hopefully I get through 7.9. 7.10 will be a separate lesson. Okay. All right. So now we have this move forward, right, for the 100. So it's accepting this parameter. So if you give it, it'll take the given value. So if you put in 100 or 500, whatever it might be, it will take that parameter, that number, and then use it for that command. Okay. So the question that what it wants us to do is draw this triangle. We also have a new pen up and pen down. So like for example, if I had pen up and then I have it move forward 200 and I run that. Oops, I did pen down, sorry. Let's say I do pen up first. Just to show you that it won't actually draw. It'll just move the turtle up here. Even though pen down's here, that doesn't matter. Pen down should be at the top. It's going to assume pen down. So when I run this with pen down, it's going to draw it. If I draw it without pen down, it's also going to draw it because pen down is the default. Okay, so what it says is, hey, can you give this triangle, can you make this triangle? So sure thing, 100. And then we now have turn right and turn left. We had those before, but it always assumed a 90 degree. But we can type in our own in. So if I want to do more than 190 degrees, so we could run that. So yeah, it's more than 90. So let's try 120. Because really, if it's a triangle, 120 times 3 is 360. So yeah, it looks like about the right angle. So actually, I can highlight this and copy it and paste, and it should give me what I want. There we go. We even have turn right, so it ends in the same spot. So there you go. Let's run that again. Finish. Woohoo! I win. Okay. Doing good so far? I hope so. All right. Again, this little module shows you what these other things do. It shows you that there is a square, right? So, for example, pen width, you're like, hey, I'm not really sure what that is. I can hit see examples, and it'll show you like pen width 10 or pen width 20, and we'll show you it's basically the width of the line, right? So, oops. So here's an example of it. You can see pen width is getting larger and larger and larger in this example that they use. Okay, so that's pretty cool. I bet I've said pretty cool a lot lately. I'm sorry. So we know what moving forward, what does it say? Does it want a certain size? The size of the square doesn't matter. Okay, I'm going to do 50 though. So we know that a square has 4 sides, so it's going to move forward 4 times. And we know it's going to have to turn right as well. We could turn left, I guess, too. Just going to make sure we turn the right way each time. And let's see what that draws. Okay, so we got our square here, but now let's try this pen width thing. So let's put that down at the bottom here, and I'll do pen width of 10, let's say, and let's run it. And you're thinking, hey, it didn't do anything, right? Well, that's because my daughter's creeping behind me. What's up? No. Okay. And so it didn't do it because it has to happen first. It always works from top down. So I'm going to take that pen width and pop it up at the top here and run it instead. And ta-da, look at that. Oh, we need it to be blue though, don't we? So again, pen color, I can type the word in blue. If it's a generic color like that, it's going to be able to do it. Now, if you type in like light blue, it might not work. Actually, we'll take light blue. If you say like light medium blue, it won't. But let's go ahead. Again, if I run that, it's at the bottom. It's got to be at the top, guys. Okay, got to set that color, set that size before it actually runs. And there we go, we did it. Moving on. And by the way, my background's different. I'm actually up north right now. All right, dot. Ooh, dot. Dot's an interesting one. Tell you what, it tells you to make this, right? Boop, boop, boop. And it's like, whoa, big purple dot, and then some white dots, right? So to make this in different, so it says using color, make a dot so big it fills the screen. Whoa. Okay, so let's do pen color, and let's do pink like it wants. And then we're going to do a dot. Now, let's try a dot like 40, for example, and see what that looks like. Come on. Is that slow? Can we type in hot pink? I don't think so. I think it took that as pink. Anyways, that's not big enough. Let's try 400. Ah, there we go. See, it takes up the whole screen if I do a dot that large. All right, and then we're going to do have it do another dot, and let's do like 100. Okay, and you run that, and you're like, hey, I don't see the second dot. Hey, you didn't change your color. Okay, so let's go back to pen color and go white. Yes, I said it like that. I used to have a substitute teacher. He would say who, what, where, why, and how. And so if he said white, he would say white. Sorry, I just had to tell you that. All right, so let's actually do a little smaller. Let's do 60. Okay, cool. So there we go. And we want to make a little snowman, right? How fitting for the time of year. So let's move forward. If I do 60, it's going to draw it right on the edge because that's the diameter that it does. So if I run this and I do another dot, another dot, and let's do 30, let's have it. And if I do that, it's like covering by that much. Maybe I don't want to quite do that. So let's actually move it by like 80. Okay, run that bad boy. There we go. And now that I look at it, maybe 30 is too small. Just 40. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna do the same thing. Move forward and then a dot. And actually, you can do undo, by the way. And so move forward. Maybe now I'm going to move forward by 40 though, because you know it's smaller. And let's run it again. Wow. Whoa, that's a really tiny head there. Yeah, we need to go farther. 50. Okay. I think that's all I need to do and finish it. Booyah. All right. How are we doing on time here? I don't like recording this on my Mac because I can't actually see the time. 12 minutes and 18 seconds. I am so sorry. Let's get as far as we can. I'm delaying too fast. All right, now we can do hexadecimal colors. There is a thing called hexadecimal. I don't want to get into it too much, but if we go to the pen color, for example, and I'll let you look at it a little more, hit see examples here, and you can find out what hexadecimal is. But essentially, the first number is your red, the second number is your green, and the last number is blue. So for example, if I put in color right here, so draw a bullseye using the combination of pen color and dot. The sample image was created using these numbers. So instead of red, I can actually type in, like it says right there, hashtag 00 ABC or ABDC. Okay. And it's saying, hey, that's something's wrong with the ABDC. Do I need to do capital letters? It should be 00. I don't think I need to. Let's try ABDC. You know, maybe I need to put in quotations still. I didn't think I did though. And then what it's going to do though, it's going to take the first. Oh, I do have to put in quotations. Look at that. Let's do a dot. See what that looks like. Run it. That dot's too small. I don't think it worked. Hold on, I'm going to pause this. This is one of those good examples of where it wasn't working. And what I needed to do is just hit refresh. So if you're ever stuck, hit refresh and then run it. That just lets you know that it's actually reading it correctly. But there's a color right there, for example. But really all you need to do is, like this shows, I'm going to have 3 dots, different hexadecimal colors, and it's going to give me what I need. So that looks pretty good right there. And I'm going to hit finish. Boop. Yes. Okay. Trying to decide if I want to make another video for the Rust or not. Think I should. Yeah, a lot of people get stuck on this one. This one's actually really difficult, so make sure you come back to it. So the next video will be for 7 through 9. Won't take as long, hopefully. Okay.